Hi, I'm here to complain again, as you can imagine, because that's kind of the only thing I do here, which is nice because at least that way I can have a constructive and cohesive thought process because it is focused on one subject. And if I don't have anything emotional driving me through it, you can tell that I tend to struggle about it. However, I am upset, and this is so like I'm on Twitter, right? And every now and then they post a picture of like Charlie, Moist Critical, whatever, and they're like, oh my gosh, this guy has never had a bad take. And like I'd never known anything about him. Every now and then he gets like recommended on my YouTube channel, and then I just click it, and then so every now and then it like recommends it. I'm not subscribed to him or anything. I'm not a long time follower. I think the only time I realize I think I've only like actually watched them this year, starting like March or something. And I was like, okay, they're talking about stuff. They seem all right. Him. I'm not really sure what pronouns. I'm just gonna go with they as a neutrality most of the time. But Moist Critical, like just for most of the stuff, it was just like lukewarm opinions on like a movie or video games and stuff. And like it came again this recent time, had the whole this person has never had a bad take. And I it was just in light of this time it was like, oh well, this aged poorly, but it came up earlier this year, and I was like, I don't know who that is. And then I ended up finding out that they're like the woo voice sound effect person, not like the meme sound, I guess. I'd never seen the video or whatever, but it was so well, like it blindsided me because like I obviously saw earlier in the year that it was like, oh, this person's never had a bad take, and then I saw discourse during that first post too where people were like, no, he's had consistently bad takes, but you guys just don't care because like you follow him, and it's just like they're not really invocative of like any actual emotional sustenance, and they're not things that really affect anything that matters. And then guess what he did? He had a bad take about things that matter. And so we circle into the whole Idubbz and everything. Like Idubbz is apologizing for having like had of like a breeding ground festering fandom of like racists that he catered to because I don't remember fully, like I remember watching the video back way back when he was like, oh, these slurs like don't even mean anything, like you words only have power if you give them power. And he's just like, oh my gosh, guys, I'm sorry, I like let that go on too long. I have these people who like follow that and like just kind of live by that. I made people be worse on the internet because I justify those things being cool or whatever. I don't think he said it as eloquently or as like smart as that, if I'm being honest. But obviously there's not really too much of a justification for that, especially when he was like 20. So it's like, you knew better and you should know that words mean things. Obviously I'm not gonna give him too much credit, and like I'm gonna be a little mean here and say like, because white man, like let's be serious, how much social and political awareness do they have? And while you can argue, as people tend to when they don't know what to say and just want to devalue and like delude the severity of some of these things and saying it's a different time back then. But the thing is, that was like maybe 6 years ago, and that was 2016. When I think of 2016 was like near Trump era and like Barack Obama. Like we already knew how racist people were with having like Barack Obama in office, and then like near Trump era and like that thing. It's not even that you were someone who festered it. Like it was something that you could have been aware enough politically to understand that there was just people who are racist. And I'm not saying like, Idubbz created racism or anything, but it's like you can see in proximity how bad and how mad people were and how like much they were vilifying this man for solely existing as a black man, and how you should probably stop saying all these things, especially when like marriage equality was barely starting and also super close to almost ending again. So like you were 20, I think you had awareness to know that these things were wrong, and like diluting these slurs to they're just words and words only have power if you give them power is kind of dismissive of the fact that people of both those demographics, I as someone who is some minority group, one you can probably imagine two of them. Well, one of them I'm sure you can guess. Let's not play no jokes. Like you can hear it in here and I can't stop it. But I'm like a Latino, and that's another, that was something that became so much more prevalent in like the Barack Obama administration, just the severity of like both these minority groups and like white society like existing, and how much that clashed with how much people hated us for no reason. So crazy. I'm like, you knew what you were doing, and it's like it's so silly to me. I'm obviously silly, you being lighthearted, a lighthearted phrasing of how intensely this makes me feel, but it's so silly to just know that these people were fine with doing that, and just seeing people just dilute it and just like, oh, it doesn't mean anything. But it's like you can I can understand that like words don't mean things in the sense that like I personally don't get affected when someone calls me a slur. Just because I'm like I don't really care. People are gonna do that. People's reflection of me and opinion of me does not really matter to me. However, you have to understand like especially again he was like 20 and during those like administrations you have to understand that like structurally these things that are words coinciding with a malicious mentality towards a certain group that is also being structurally, governmentally, socially, culturally, and economically oppressed. These words and that negative correlation to those people is something that definitely affects life, and devaluing and diminishing that to just words that are like genuinely have so much more oppressive weight behind them aside from just being a word that you casually throw away. And like I can understand like sometimes you say the word milk like 50 times and you're like that doesn't sound like a word anymore. I can understand that like yes, in that sense the more you say it, words don't really have too much sustenance and don't really make sense and they just sound like things and you can just say that and like the more you say it the less impact it has to yourself. But like to people who like are affected by this and like I'm not affected by the word, of course. I don't really care about the word, but I'm like socially, economically, legally, I am oppressed by that capacity. I'm like, I am also like in Bible Belt, Arkansas. So like I could just be fired or like beat up for being gay. Like it's like the word doesn't really fucking matter. I can just be oppressed because of it. And that correlates. Like you can't disavow that these things do mean things and how that goes together. And so just the moist critical Charlie being like, oh yeah, that guy shouldn't really have to apologize because like words don't mean things. And then I also am upset because like I watched the apology video too that he made. He was like, oh, this was a bad take. Yes, it was a bad take. I think you should have already known that that was dumb and you shouldn't have posted that to begin with. But again, what am I supposed to expect from a white man? Let's be serious. And he was like, well, I'm an adult and I should have been aware that like this was satirization. Like I was aware that he was saying that I was aware that it was satirization and that like someone as an since I was in an adult mind that this probably didn't have any effect on people, but I guess I didn't really just understand how the internet works. First of all, you were already pretty big in the media sphere from what I'm gathering, considering like he's just been a meme before and how much his videos get like views and everything and how he like runs an e-league or whatever. I think you were pretty well aware of how like the internet works if you had any kind of fandom at all. That's like dumb to dismiss that by just saying that I was an adult so I didn't think it mattered. You should still care and like you should understand that saying these things and these words and these slurs do not matter is like insane. Like again, what am I supposed to expect from like a white man on the internet? I'm sorry, at the minute it's so if you can like take off white it'll always be a man. I'm sorry, I like it just always will be. I don't know. It's crazy to me that like, and again, like you were an adult, but not like you have to be that kind of adult who's like, you have to know. Again, if he was 20 or something, you have to have political understanding to understand that these things, words, again, like yes, technically do not mean anything, but there is so much more oppressive force that is behind it and that is used in malice by genuine people who hate these demographics. Like you can't be this dumb and just being like, I don't think you should have apologized, or whoops, I worded it bad, but I still think it wasn't really that bad. You still doubling down on the fact that you think it wasn't that bad. You're dumb. Yes, I know. I don't think Idubbz is a racist. I just think he's freaking dumb. Like I don't think he's a racist person. And I think he said in one of his little stories, he was like, this one time a trans fan came up to me and was like, hey, I know you probably don't like trans people, but can I take a picture with you? Like I'm like, that is the part of the mentality that you were projecting onto these people. You festering like a group of like, first of all, you casually throwing slurs is like obviously gonna have people who think you're antagonizing them just as an existence. And even though if there's like that, it's that kind of that thing where like if you're one ism, you're kind of all of them. Like if you are saying these slurs, then like you're probably racist and you're probably then like homophobic and misogynistic and like transphobic and like if you're any kind of like one of those phobias, it's just like bigotry. If you're any type of those bigotry and those isms, you probably hate a lot more other demographics that are probably not white. Like that just is the fact. Like if you dismiss these things by any of those capacities, you are going to fester people who think like who do hate these people actively and actually, and then also people who are like, oh, because of the way you're presenting on the internet, I am inclined to believe that you do not like people like me because you're casually saying these things and saying these things don't matter to say about people or towards people. And like, oh my God, it is dumb too to be like, oh, we're just talking about content copy here. Like I shouldn't have been critical of you. No, that is not the point. I don't care if you were being critical of like, yes, she was like a 19-year-old Tana Mojo. Like she shouldn't have done some of that stuff and she was dumb. But like, again, yeah, it doesn't, no, people weren't criticizing the fact that you were criticizing other people. He seems to put that in a capacity. Idubbz, not most critical. He seems to put that as an aside, as like an all-encompassing. I was saying slurs in the content cops. So sorry about the content cops. I don't give a crap about the content cops. The content cops were good, and I think more people need to do more analyses about criticizing people in the way that like Shane Dawson tried to do it, in a sense that was like glorifying and like kissing these people's ass. He was like just being introspective towards the person and like the content they make and all this. That was cool. He talked to them. That was interesting. I didn't watch that. I don't care about that. I just mean like more people need to do introspective, like deep dives into, or I guess not introspective, extrospective. I don't know if that's a word. More deep dives into people and content creators and influencers and just the sheer severity of the terrible things that they've done, and that should be brought to light. That was a reasonable and justifiable thing. There was not really a problem with content cop. You are just a problem, or were just a problem, Idubbz, and it's good now to just disavow them. And it's also dumb how Moist Critical is doing like the lukewarm, just like, oh yeah, I don't think it was that bad. Well, yeah, he shouldn't have been slaying sirs. I think you guys totally misunderstood the point that I was saying. Like, you were just you guys are making assumptions on my character by like, because I left too open of an interpretation. No, if there is anybody who is like racist or is just like a white supremacist who is a part of your content and you haven't disavowed it openly, you should. You are a bad person for not disavowing racism and bigotry on your channel. It is not, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have left it like in. You guys are projecting bad things onto me because I was open about it. No, you should have some spine and tell people, I do not like you and you are a bad person. If you're a racist, then I don't want you to follow me. It's really that simple. It is really that simple. If you are any kind of a decent person, you should be able to disavow any kind of that bigotry and ism under your sphere without being like, oh my gosh, guys, you guys put words in my mouth. No, people shouldn't be able to put racist words in your mouth. Otherwise, you aren't being very clear about what you stand for. Do not be dumb. Do not play middleman. And also, it's annoying because I don't think it's funny. Sorry, I'm just going to put this in here just out of annoyance. It's not really related to like hating on him. I hate the whole, I don't know if it's like similes or metaphors. I think it's more simile because he's saying like, oh, that's like if I was like putting my ass through a blender and like putting my shit through a blender and like drinking a shit puree. Like, it's not funny because you're also delivering it in like a monotone way. It is not funny. I think it's really dumb. I don't like it. Like, there's ways to conflate things and make them like similar in a sense that they're like funny and like shock value, like he he he. Like, that sounded so silly. What a weird funny comparison. Like, if I flop around like a Magikarp, that's really funny. Like, just any kind of correlation to something in a comedic aspect to add to the severity of like the extremity or like the wackiness of a situation, that's fun. You can make jokes like that, but I don't think Moist Critical does that well. That's an aside. I just think he should still disavow racism. And Idubbz also was, I don't like that. He should have just been like, if you're racist, I don't fuck with it. If you're transphobic, I don't fuck with it. It should really just be that simple. You should just be like, I do not like these things. I'm sorry if I misconstrued these things. I shouldn't have never said those like slurs and made it more casual for people. You should just be like, I do not like you if you still stand by those things. If you like the old me, you're bad. You're a bad person and you should fix some things and self-evaluate. It's really that simple. If those people have any space in your sphere, that is your fault. That is your fault. Like, people are gonna deify people unless you disavow that personally, and if they still like you after that, that's fine. But unless you disavow it and like shame them and tell them they're terrible people and they have no place in your content and you would not be happy with someone like them in your sphere or meeting them or running into them, that's your fault. Like, you have to, unless you're like politically already like, unless you already portray enough of a kind of person online to just already like, a lot of political alignings correlate to like, I'm care about people and humanity and I'm a racist and I hate people except white people, then like, it's pretty easy to portray that kind of thing, because I'm sure I have already by some of the things that I say and hating a couple of isms on my channel, that those people wouldn't have a comfort and like those people wouldn't have comfort and like feel a neutrality of you being apolitical on my channel to watch me. There would be no apolitical like fallback that they could fall to. There would be just like, they'd be like, I'm watching this like liberal, leftist, I don't know what I am. I'm just, left-leaning, whatever that is, in the American sphere. If you're just apolitical, that's your fault for having those people there. They should not have any comfort in your sphere. They should not feel like they're welcome. If I had a fan who was anti-vax, I'd be like, ew, do not get away from me. You cannot be here. This is not for you. I would not be your friend because you're making an active choice to like let people die. Be serious. So it is annoying that Idubbz encompassed it to just a simple oh, my bad. It was the content cops. People didn't like the content cops. No, I didn't like you letting racists be in your sphere and you not disavowing that. And you still not actively saying, I do not want racist people or people who say slurs in my area. And M0istCritical being like, guys, it wasn't that bad. Like, I don't get why people are criticizing him. It's really just that, like, I was an adult, so I guess I didn't realize the impact. You should have realized the impact it had because you're an adult on the internet and you've seen politics. Like, you're, from what I can understand, American, and even if you're not, you know people are racist. You can't be dumb. The internet exists. You had a following. You should know how intensely people go for you, even if you're dumb. But I guess he wasn't aware of that because he was like, oh my gosh, huge L take. I hate internet speak too. L take ratio, adding the W word instead of like in front of it for making it like W critical or whatever. Like, you're dumb. Oh my gosh. I like get off the internet and take it seriously for a second because this matters and it affects people in real life. Get a grip. Ooh, get a grip. I hate people. I'm mad. I'm mad as you can tell. But yeah, those people can eat dirt. I'm mad. Like, and I should be. Like, so yes, M0istCritical has bad takes. He has bad takes about movies, about games, and stop deifying these people because they're just people and they're dumb. Like, please, there's people you can watch for good fun and just like dumb, turn off your brain. Like, I'm watching those 8-hour iCarly videos and it's just about iCarly. It's not political, aside from them being like, oh my god. Well, actually, the political, it is a little political. There's some times where he's like, this was negative, like, this is really bad commentary on like survivors. So like, they're political still, too, like they are still political to aspects, and you still catch up on probably roughly what the creator thinks and believes. So don't get me wrong, there's things that you can just watch that are dumb, that are fun, like a M0istBeast video. They're just good fun. You just watch whatever. Like, these people are doing a challenge, they're 24 hours in a circle. You can watch people for fun, but you should understand that you can't defend these people. Like, again, that, and obviously, yes, I know Twitter's a hellscape, and that whole post comes circulating every now and then about how he's never had a bad take. Do not deify these people. Everybody makes mistakes, and it also is a reflection of them on how they own up to it, because I don't think that either of them owned up to any of it well. L take, be serious. Say, I messed up. That was a dumb interpretation, and I really need to think about some things. Don't be dumb. Do not be dumb. Ooh, like, this is like such a deflection or a minimization of the actual influence they have. Because I'm like, M0istCritical has like millions of views per video. Like, maybe not millions per view, but like, he has 1 million roughly views every video. Like, it's not funny. You should be like, am I bad? We should actually take this seriously, and it matters. Because literally every minority is telling you that this is dumb and we don't forgive this. And also, you shouldn't be saying any of that to begin with. I'm sorry, I'm back in it. You should not be saying it wasn't that bad, because the thing white people can get away with every single time in the realm of apoliticalness, instead of just being dumb, if they want to play a cute little neutral just because they care about being fine with breaking bread with racists in their sphere, they always love, ooh, they love this one. They eat this one up every time. It is not my place to accept them an apology on these people because it doesn't affect me personally. That one, ooh, they eat it up every time. They eat it up every time. That is the best way to keep your neutrality and be cute and safe and pretend like you care. You couldn't have even done that. You were just had to be dumb and be like, that was a bad take, my guys. My bad. I was an adult and I thought you guys would have known better. No, people don't know better. It's the internet. You didn't even do the cute little neutrality of it doesn't affect me, so it's not my place to accept it. Get serious. Oh, I'm mad. I'm mad. You maybe follow better people. Obviously, like, this isn't for everybody, but like, maybe get a bigger sphere of the people you follow. Maybe care about following people who think about things and care about things and like are very vocal about the things they care about and things they think matters. And like, yes, obviously there's people you can watch that like just do dumb fun, but do not separate, I guess, art from the artist. And like, do not deify these people because they're just people behind the internet. I'm propping this up on my phone. Like, I'm just some guy on the phone yelling into a phone. Ooh. Anyways, yeah, that's all I had to say. It's 20 minutes of, that's all I had to say. So it's clearly a lot, but I'm mad, dude. Good, get serious. Get serious. But that was all I had to say. Oh my god, tune in next time for me yelling about things again. Like, that's probably it. Well, actually, the next one might be me being excited about Fast 10. The Fast and the Furious 10 movie is so good. Oh, I'm going to get into that in a bit. But bye. Ooh, I'm mad.